What is going on, everybody on YouTube? Max Rock here with a brand new video, and today we're going to be doing the full review or the final thoughts of the Honor 6X. As you can see, the device is in my hand, and I'm going to be switching up the format of my review videos here. I'm going to try to keep everything on a certain time frame, and I also have this new thing where I'm going to call it the max score. And the max score, just to get into it here, is going to be basically a set of scores where I rate everything out of 30, and it's going to be 3 categories. It's going to be the software, the battery, and it's one more thing: software, battery, and cameras. And out of those things, they're going to be out of 10. So 3 categories out of 10. Basically, it's going to be out of 30, and that's going to be the new format for the actual phones here and how good it is, in my opinion. Now, my opinion is in fact around here, so enough of me talking, let's get into the review. So, as you can see here, we have the Honor 6X. And the Honor 6X is a phone primarily constructed of aluminum. It's very nice looking, and you can see that it has dual cameras in the back, has a fingerprint scanner. This works pretty well as well. Can unlock the phone pretty fast, no complaints about it. And on the right side of the device, you can see that you got a power button and a volume up and down key. As you can see there, I'll show you that. Now, the power key and the volume up and down is not rigid, but you know, you can get over that, no big deal. You can easily tell the difference between the size, so it's not a problem at all. And on the bottom of the device, you can see that you got a micro USB for the charging, no USB Type-C. On the left side, you got your microphone, and on the right side, you have your speaker. On the left side of the device, you can see that you got your SIM tray slot. On the top, you got a headphone jack with a noise canceling mic. And on the front of the phone, you have an 8 megapixel camera, and on the back, you have a 12 megapixel camera along with a 2 megapixel camera. Obviously, it's dual cameras. And as far as the internal specs here, you have a Kirin 655. It is clocked at, I believe, 2.1 gigahertz. It is an octa-core. You're going to be running EMUI 5.0.1, Android 7.0 with the security patch of November 6, 2017. You have 3 gigs of RAM in this phone here, along with 32 gigabytes of internal storage. And the screen itself is 5.5 inches, and it's at a resolution of 1080p with about 403 pixels per inch. So as far as specs, that's pretty much it for that. Now, when it comes to the software of the device here, the EMUI Android 7.0 Nougat, software is pretty good in this phone. It's not the best. I'm not really a fan of EMUI that much. I would say I'm not a fan of EMUI on the Honor 6X, if that makes any sense, because I do have another Huawei device in the lineup here. It also has EMUI on it, and I like it a little bit better on that phone. I feel like it's more optimized. You could tell that the update was pushed out for this phone and it wasn't really too optimized, in my opinion. Now, overall performance with Android 7.0, you know, you get your notification, direct reply, things like that. You get your multitasking with your dual windows. So when it comes to things like that, the phone itself does that with no problem, no complaints at all. And the next thing I want to talk about here is just everything that everyone else talks about, is the Geekbench score here. And with the Geekbench score of the device, you can see that you got a score of 813 on the single core score and a score of 3323 on the multi-core score. What does that mean? Don't know, but it means something to a lot of people. And when you're doing reviews on phones here, those numbers matter. It's a lot. So why not do it? And now with the Antutu benchmark here, you have a score of 55,434. Not higher than my other phone there, which is the Moto G5 Plus. Did a speed test between those phones if you want to check that out. Link will be in the description. And now the next thing I want to talk about here on this device is the cameras. Now, the Honor 6X has dual cameras on the back. One is the 12 megapixel and the other one is a 2 megapixel along with an LED flash. And on the front of the device, you have an 8 megapixel camera. Now, don't really have too many negative things to say about the camera itself. It's actually a really good camera. Only thing I do have a problem with, like a gripe with, is the fact that the phone itself, when you're in front-facing video mode, basically front-facing camera mode, and you go to your video, you swipe over, the max resolution that you get is 720p. And that's kind of a downer when you have a phone like the Huawei Late on Cricket Wireless, a lot cheaper than this one as well. It has an 8 megapixel sensor in the front, and it shoots 1080p full HD video. So when you look at things like that, you gotta go ahead and give this one here a gripe. Can't really, you can't really give it a pass when a phone that's cheaper has something that the phone that's more expensive doesn't. It doesn't make any sense, in my opinion. Now, as far as the battery life on this phone here, the Huawei Honor 6X, the battery life is pretty good as well. I've got anywhere between 5.5 hours to 6 hours of on-screen time with about 25% battery left, if not 23% battery left. And I think that's really good with a phone that has a 3,340 milliamp hour battery. Don't quote me on that. It's definitely 3,300 though. Pretty big battery. And also with the phone having a 1080p display, for it to last that long is pretty good as well. I usually rock my phones on about about 50% brightness, sometimes 100% depending on what I'm doing or depending on where I'm at. I can go up to about 100% for about a half hour or so. But I'm rocking 50%, and that's why a lot of the times I'm able to get 5 hours on screen time on average. And it also depends on the usage of the device too. So it's because I get it doesn't mean you'll get it. Keep that in mind. All right, and to keep things going here, as far as game performance, little things like Temple Run and Temple Run 2, those are gonna work perfectly fine here. If you wanna play heavier games like Dead Trigger or race car games like Need for Speed, then you should be okay as well, as long as you have the graphics on medium to low settings. It's not gonna perform like a flagship phone, and so you're not gonna be able to play the game at the highest resolution and get the maximum frames, because you may drop some frames when it comes to playing high intensive games like that. And as far as the network connectivity, which is pretty important about this phone here, the network connectivity is pretty good as well. When I had my SIM in it, I was able to connect to Cricket Wireless, no problem. I had about 3 to 4 bars, depending on my location. Like at home, I'll have about 3 to 4, and if I go out in public, I'll have about 3 to 4 as well. It doesn't have a better signal than my Moto G5 Plus, which is kind of a downer, but when it comes to making phone calls, that was no problem. I was able to get HD voice. I was able to send text messages with no issues, and also I was able to connect to LTE, no problem as well. So when it comes to things like that, your connectivity, depending on your area, is going to be good when it comes to this device. It has quite a few of the LTE bins in the US, so you should be okay. It should work with Cricket, T-Mobile, all the major carriers that are GSM. You should be fine. Overall performance, RAM is really good in this phone. RAM management is amazing in this phone here. I got a video detailing that. You can actually watch that on the channel. I don't know if I would link that in the description, but it is detailed in speed tests I had. It go against the Huawei Elite, so check that out if you want to. It's not going to be in the description though. But overall, RAM management is pretty good. Performance is pretty good. The processor itself is efficient. You get long-lasting battery. You get snappy performance if you need it. And overall, I like the phone. I think it's really good, and it's definitely worth the money. Of course, thank you for watching this video here. And one more thing I forgot to mention here, the max score as far as this device here. When it comes to the software, I gave it a 8.5 out of 10 simply because EMUI isn't the best in my opinion, not the best on this phone. So I gave it 8.5 out of 10. And when it came to battery life, I gave it a 10 out of 10 because any device that's able to give me 5 hours of on-screen time with about a 4th of battery left, that's really good in my opinion. And you also have Quick Charge 2.0 as well, so we'll be able to charge your phone back up really quickly. So with software being an 8.5 and the battery being a 10, the camera itself is the last one here. Now, because of the front-facing camera not being able to shoot full HD 1080p video, I'm gonna have to ding it and drop it to a 8.5 as well. Sorry about that. I had wrote it down here. I was trying to remember it. So when you add everything up there, you get 8.5. You're looking at a 27 out of 30, which is still really, really good. The phone itself is amazing. It's worth the price. It will satisfy any user. In my opinion, you'll get exactly what you're paying for. It won't be flagship performance and it won't be budget performance, but you'll be somewhere in the middle, okay? And that's the whole point of it. So, of course, thank you for watching this video here. As you do know, my name is Max the Rock. Leave a comment if you haven't left a comment already. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed already. And let me know if you want to see more videos like this in the future and if you like the new format. That'd be much appreciated. So, like I said, thanks for watching. My name is Max the Rock, and you have a good day. Deuces.